welcome back. Let's get into it right away. The Daily Nation and the Business Daily. Let's look at the headlines before I introduce Nick, and then we get to know what he has to say, and also what you have to say on social platforms at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_Okenye. Why CJ wants life sentence scrapped. Why CJ wants the life sentence scrapped. Amendments are being tabled here. 2 bills in the National Assembly proposing the sweeping changes to the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code. This includes the readjustment of sentence for murder and robbery to ensure proportionate punishment and abolishment of life sentences, which will now be replaced. They'll be replacing this with a maximum sentence of 30 years. Yani life sentence should be moved now to 30 years maximum. Right there below, you can see the face of the CJ, Martha Koome, there, of course. And then below is the shilling exchanges at 150 to the dollar. The official exchange rate of the shilling against the dollar as of yesterday crossed the 150 unit mark following a period of sustained and consistent depreciation. That story on the shilling depreciating against the dollar is also the top story on the Business Daily. The Kenya shilling official exchange rate, which now is at 154, between 154 to 157 is what the banks are selling 1 shilling or $1 and buying it at between those figures. It has now been losing its value. The shilling has been losing its value at a rate of 17.7% since January. When President Uhuru Kenyatta left the reins and handed over to President William Ruto, Nick Mwadime tells me that the shilling was trading at 108 against the dollar. And now we are at 154, expected to cross 160 soon. Very soon, 200 shillings will be equal to $1. And then at some point, it means that 50,000 or $500 will be worth 100,000 Kenyan shillings. This was at 50,000 Kenyan shillings at some point. I know some Kenyans are still stuck on the conversion of 100 shillings. Ukiambia mtu kuna $1,000, they say, oh, 100,000 Kenyan shillings. No, it's not 100,000 Kenyan shillings. It's now 150 something thousand. So very soon we are going to 200,000. It's a sad state that is painted here at the front of the Business Daily. But there are going to be exciting stories as well. What has the country brought from China? The Business Daily highlights that, what Kenya got from China in the recent visit by President William Ruto. So more of those stories, including sports and what has happened locally and on the international front. So don't go far. Let's now get to discuss. But first, introduce Nick to the show once more.
Richard.
Good morning to you. Nandelaji.
How have you been?
I've been well.
Yes.
It's been a minute since we met here.
Yes. It's 2 weeks.
A couple of developments. Yes.
Nice tie, my brother.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Nice blazer yourself.
I think today we decided to do slightly Azimio colors.
Yes. Yes, a bit of blue here and there.
Yes.
Good touch.
Yes.
Someone told me some time back that when someone highlights the good thing about you,
yes,
they want you to focus on what they have on the other end. So if you tell me nice tie, you want me to look at your tie.
You're very brilliant. I didn't expect you to see me on that angle.
So yes, nice tie too, Nick, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Richard. Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you to director and producer Ryan, producer Boni. My name is Nick Mwadime Mwangi, National Executive Director of MKUSA, Mount Kenya Colleges, Universities and Student Association.
All right.
Yes, good to be here, Richard.
Good to have you.
Yes.
Let's begin with the Daily Nation. I think that's the one we will be focusing on mostly this morning.
Yes.
The CJ wants life sentence scrapped.
Well, I was just reading the back end story of why the CJ wants to do it, just to get a view, to understand the precedents that he's trying to set. Well, the standard of the international human rights systems, the sentencing of an individual previously from quite before, life imprisonment was very, very, very brutal. Some were hanged, some went by the needle. There was electrocution, but with time, as time changes, it became to a period of maybe 100 years, and the standards have slowly been reduced to a roughly 30 to 50 years. So Kenya is very critical to see these progressive changes, to see where it's going to be on the map, because as I explained earlier, we are trying to be, or we are yet there as a hegemon of Africa.
Right.
So the standards have been set, and it's a good bill.
Right. A raft of changes here which are lined up in the bill. Let me maybe mention them real quick to put our viewers into context, to give them the context of what this discussion is about. The bill, which seeks to amend provisions which are relating to mandatory death penalty in line with this Supreme Court ruling. So the judiciary has tabled these two bills, and maybe at a glance of what we have here on page 4 of the Daily Nation, you can follow through. Key among these proposals is the readjustment of sentences for murder and robbery to ensure that proportionate punishment for these different crimes. The Penal Code also seeks to revise life imprisonment to mean imprisonment for a term of just 30 years. It also seeks to decriminalize attempted suicide. And I think I like this specifically because this is also the month where we are taking a look at matters of mental
health. Very critical, yeah.
And previous shows here, we've had guests who've been calling out on the government to also take a look at matters of suicide.
Yes.
You know, this is criminalized, and sometimes it's not fair to these victims of suicide.
Yes,
They are seen not as victims but as perpetrators of a crime. And this will be a very good boost, of course, in matters of taking care of our mental health, men being the majority of who are falling under this.
Yes, we are the upfront, according to statistics, on matters of suicide.
Right, they will be deleting the section in the Principal Act under which a person who attempts suicide is guilty of a misdemeanor. The amendment also is seeking to abolish the privilege of publishing defamatory statements. The Penal Code and the Penal Code Bill of 2023 and the Criminal Procedure Bill of 2023 are making special provisions also for trial. So robbery, murder, and all these very serious first degree and second degree criminal cases are also going to be looked at. What do you make of the victims, though?
That's what makes me wonder.
If I was a victim of any of these crimes,
if I come to your home today, I shoot your wife or your sister or your mother, what do you expect of me?
Life imprisonment, death penalty, the most extreme measures.
So those are the emotions that the National Assembly and the Court of Justice needs to balance.
So do we expect this to be an easy discussion, really?
Well, it's not going to be an easy discussion because matters of law and matters of emotions, sometimes they go hand in hand, sometimes they do not. Because soldiers go to war every day and they try to protect our borders. But the casualty of wars sometimes are women and children. So we usually play a blind eye to such matters of the law. However, when we come back, when you're tabling cases of murder, cases of first and second degree of murder, it becomes so much sensitive and emotional. Case study, we've recently seen the issue of the CS. I'm trying to remember her name. I don't know, it's CS Juma. Yes. Aisha Juma shot somebody. But allegedly, there was not enough evidence to be tabled. Right. There's recently this journalist from Citizen who the issue about Monica, the issue about this guy Joey, right? It's been an ongoing case, very, very tight. And up to now, we're not clearly seeing if there's any levels of justice.
Right. Mentioning members of parliament as well, members of parliament like Babu Wino,
exactly,
and his fellows who are also involved in some of these cases. So it's been moved that if you're involved in robbery, if you will be involved in robbery, or a person who's convicted in second degree robbery, this now will be liable for life imprisonment. And this is moving from death sentence to life imprisonment. I feel like, given that a few of our members of parliament are involved in some, or allegedly involved in some of these cases, this is going to be a smooth cruising. They would want the least punishment possible to any offences.
I don't want to perjure myself because I intend to go to parliament.
so you don't want to step on few toes here and there. But
Yes,
that's just
yes.
an opinion from where I'm sitting, looking at it from, given that, a majority of these members of parliament, including senators, we've seen
Yes.
cases here and there of, senators brandishing their weapons in public, or members of parliament brandishing their weapons in public, or being allied to a few people here and there, goons who are said to have been, somehow related to these people who we have put on helm of leadership.
Yes, I want to agree with you completely, Richard. And how we need to reevaluate our National Assembly is, again, I throw the ball to the voters. Who do we elect in? Is it a matter of popularity? Is it a matter of fame? Is it a matter of political parties?
Okay.
We need to look at issues as matters of policies, as matters of objectivity, as matters, is this person really qualified to bring changes to us?
Right. Is this going to be a discussion on human moral values, or is this going to be a discussion on justice? Because as we'd hinted earlier, victims will look at it as a reprieve to those who, met some injustices against them. If someone, did commit robbery with violence, or someone, as you said, walked into my house and shot members of my family, I would like them to get the most extreme punishment. So I expect that emotion to also be taken into the consideration. But also there's human value. Who gets to judge? Who gets to judge who gets to condemn who to death?
Yes.
Who gets to decide how my life should go, or if I should be condemned to death? Why are you, as they say in the Bible, and we are a religious nation now, for the first time I get to quote the Bible here, that, you should take a look at the log in your eye before looking at the speck in your neighbor.
Yes.
Who gets to decide the life and death?
Well, the parliament has a very simple mandate. It needs to look at the bill. It needs to reevaluate the bill, and it needs to pass the bill if it sees fit. Now, the work of the judiciary is to implementation of the laws that come from the National Assembly. Now, there's usually a thin line, because I understand this could be one of the cases that the parliament's, for lack of a better word, I quote, intimidates the judiciary, because there's so many cases in the judiciary concerning the parliament, and the judiciary is just playing the long ball. So I tend to oversee a situation whereby it could be a push and pull, right? It could be a conversation that will not start today and end tomorrow.
All right.
Yes.
The amendments also seeks to abolish the privilege of publishing defamatory statements under the new proposal. Causing the death of another person by an unlawful act or omission will no longer be a simple case of murder, but will be classified as either first degree or second degree murder. Read for yourself there on page 4 of the Daily Nation. It's a priority story here.
Yes.
Why do you think that is? If you were to take a wild guess.
The CJ has really put herself on spot since the court ruling of the presidential seat, especially in her own words, where she said the evidence table in the Supreme Court were hot air. So again, the number of cases that are ongoing in the Supreme Court or in the judicial system are too long.
Right. So there's a backlog of cases.
There's a backlog. As well. So I want to understand the editor of Daily Nation asking herself, yes, we say it is 30 years, but when do these people get convicted?
Right.
To 30 years.
Right.
Yes.
I wanted to bring up a few statistics as well on Kenya prisons, which is now we are overwhelmed, according to the latest survey here, that we have more prisoners than we have enough resources to handle. And I think also this brings us to whatever will be discussion in terms of what the CJ and the judiciary is tabling here, reducing that life sentence, reducing the number of years that people are spending in jail, which will be now a maximum of 30 years.
Yes.
So we have to depopulate our prisons as well, and I'm hoping this is also the kind of conversation that needs to be included in what the National Assembly is going to be discussing.
Yes. I really hope so, because we really need to look at the issue of justice in this country, because the justice is the pillar of the human hope. If I am offended, Richard, for example, by you, I need to seek somewhere else to get justice. I need to be I need to find I need to believe in the justice system, because it will be very sad, Richard, whereby the role of the justice system or the role of the judiciary is not played out very well.
Right.
Because so many cases, if people don't believe in the judiciary, they're going to believe in the power of their hands.
Right.
Yeah.
The power of the people.
The power of the people.
All right. Page 4 is where you get that story on CJ and life sentence, which she wants to be scrapped.
Yes.
And hopefully also taking a look at issues of suicide, which have been criminalized for quite some time now. Let's take a look at the shilling.
Yes.
Which is the story on the Daily Nation and also at the front of the Business Daily. As of the official rates of the CBK, 154 to 157, but we know that in the black market, which is of course operated outside of the regulations by the CBK, we will likely get it at 160 plus, or even at 170.
Yes.
So what is the indication of these rates?
One, Richard, I could hear the sadness of your tone.
Yeah.
Because the shilling has been going down by day. So I was just trying to imagine, is this Kenya Kwanza government, the William Ruto government, do they want us to actually apply the wheelbarrow in context? Because if you're going to devalue our Kenyan shilling, it means that we are going to carry a lot of money on the wheelbarrow to take to the bank.
Oh wow! So that's where the wheelbarrow comes in, just like the
like Zimbabwe,
the story of Zimbabwe, carrying it in a wheelbarrow.
Are they in any sense trying to tell us that that's where we are going?
All right, the president did say that earlier in the year, 2 months after he took power, in 2 months or 3 months, that we'll be seeing the shilling going down to at around 115 against the dollar.
He's on record. He said, anaelewa mambo ya uchumi. But we are seeing that right from 13th of September, when he took power, the shilling has been dropping day by day.
17.7% depreciation since the beginning of the year.
You can imagine.
Right.
So it has moved from 108 to 150. And it will not stop there. Because, let's tell the truth. Yesterday, I saw David Ndii quote on Twitter. One of the Kenyans asked him, do we really have any hope? So, and the response is, he said to the Kenyan, when you see someone who is in ICU and is about to die, what do you expect?
Wow. That's a response from people who are supposed to take care of
the
our
economic advisor.
Economic direction.
Yes.
Right. So the shilling is weakening and it's also affecting our neighbors. I was just having a look at Uganda. For instance, here it depreciated by 0.96% since January. We're actually doing the worst against our neighbors. And I'm betting this is why Tanzania is now being poised as the next best destination ahead of us in the next 2 years. Because their depreciation is at only 6.8%. But in Rwanda, in Rwanda, things are really worse. At 14% is the depreciation since the turn of the year. In Kenya, 17.7%, and that is against the dollar. This year, the Ugandan shilling has gained 20% to exchange against Kenya. So last year, you will get you will use 1 shilling and get it at you'll get 30 of those Ugandan coins. And now it is at 25. It means as we are doing worse against the US dollar, we're also doing worse
against our neighbors. On a later note, Richard, if you had defected to Uganda, right now you'll have been a billionaire.
Right, that's true.
But on a serious note, Richard, it's really a sad state because our country, Kenya, has been known to be a stability of investments. So when we see investors running to our neighboring countries with all their struggles and challenges that they have individually in their country, it should be very alarming. That what are we doing to stabilize our economy?
Right. The other consequence I'm expecting from this is the hoarding of the dollars. People who have dollars are probably, or people who have the ability to transfer their shillings into dollars are definitely going to do that, keep it in the bank, wait for the shilling to depreciate. Also investors, why invest in a weakening currency and you can move to more stable markets? Right. So foreign investors, of course, expecting to see that effect on NSE in terms of how much jitters are going to be seen by foreign investment and, of course, the drain of that into other, of course, more stable markets.
My good friend Niri Nyoro, he hilariously made me laugh yesterday. when he said that Ruto has managed to stabilize the economy.
Right.
And we are currently ranked 29th.
Right.
With no debt.
The quote is here on page 2 of the Daily Nation. Let me just maybe read it out. Ruto, and it's a quote of the day. I wonder what's the quote of the day for the Daily Nation, but let's hear it. Ruto has been able to stabilize Kenya's economy because of his wise, deliberate policies. Receives a laugh from Nick. Kenya was ranked the 29th fastest growing economy in the world in 2023. I will say this, if you are mono-eye,
yes,
and you're among the blind people,
yes,
you're definitely the king, right? So rankings do not help your vision.
Yes.
You're still affected in one way or another.
Yes.
And he's saying we are no longer under debt stress.
And you see, it's very sad that it's coming from the chairman of budget committee at the Parliament, National Assembly.
Are they not aware of what's happening? I'm
trying to imagine that these are guys who are clapping when things are going wrong. That we have a show and we have a master of the show, and they are not telling the master that the show is going wrong.
Right.
So they're secretly clapping, and they know that the show is going amiss.
Ndidi Nyoro is saying things are going well. President William Ruto is quoted to say that he's very happy that at the situation where the country is at, he's at the helm of the leadership. You know, kama ingekuwa watu wengine ambao wanashughulikia hii mambo, he's not even, he can't even guess where the direction of the country will be headed.
The sad truth is, early this week we saw smoky sellers, we saw my boilo sellers. Their services being thrown to the street. This is a man who promised Mama Mboga, vijana wa boda boda, and those small business people of hope. Right now, Richard, on the street, my eye is 35 bob. Me and you cannot eat eggs for free.
Mimi niliacha mambo ya smocha niliwacha kabisa. That's for matajiri.
Yes. And it is very sad that I want to imagine that if my eye is costing 35 bob, right from 15 to 20 bob, 15 to 20 shillings, right? I want to imagine the seriousness of how much they're buying from a retailer.
Right.
So he will play these gimmicks as he likes to play, but at the end of the day, I want to assure our president that Kenyans are not blind.
Right.
Kenyans are feeling the pain, are feeling the pinch each and every single day.
If I take you back a bit to September of 2022 at Bomas of Kenya, when the results were announced, is there one thing you remember that was out of place during the chaos, the commotion?
Well, among the most interesting thing that kept me cool was the choir.
Right.
Because as the choir kept singing, the tension was being reduced, while Chebukati's kipara was being knocked down.
Right. And the choir continued, just like the Titanic, when it was sinking, there was a band playing while people were sinking.
Yes.
The same thing we're seeing here. Our leaders are saying we're in a good position. The president says we're in a good position.
Yes.
But Mwananchi is suffering. So
and
it's a choir of...
And the choir of Ndidi Nyoro are
Right.
singing the song.
Right.
Yes.
So get to read on what the shilling is going to be at in the coming few days, or what you can get it at in various banks here. And page 2 of the Business Daily has that story, and page 6 of the Daily Nation.
On a lighter note, Richard, because we've really talked sensitive issues and very emotional issues. There's this lady called Miss Catherine Maundu,
right?
Company Secretary of BAT, and also Company Secretary of EBL.
Company Secretary of Safaricom PLC as well. Okay.
Yes. So what really caught me in the morning is EBL and BAT are pombe na sigara. So in our view, ameona ache pombe na sigara.
Pombe na sigara amesema anaweza wachana. Like that other musician.
Yes.
So she held very high positions in very important companies here.
Yes.
So we're talking about Miss Catherine Maundu, Company Secretary, or formally now at this point, right? From BAT. And the other one, Inya Sigara. The other one is EABL.
Also, pombe.
Right. Resigning from those early, before in September. She also resigned as Company Secretary from Safaricom PLC. Maybe we can have a sidebar conversation on this one. What do you think? What do you think is happening with Miss Catherine? Speculations?
Well, Probably she's gotten a better deal, and she's hot in the market, because if your company secretary is Safaricom, that's a big shot. If your company secretary BAT, that is British American Tobacco, and then a company secretary at the most leading alcohol seller, EBL.
Also, she was at the board of Deloitte, which is the consultancy company. So I think if she's resigned from all these positions, tunaweza bet.
Yes.
We see whether there is going to be an appointment that's going to be announced by President William Ruto very soon. So.
Yes.
But those are just our speculations. And Miss Catherine Maundu, we wish
her the best.
Just happens to be a very interesting individual.
On the record, we want to say we are really encouraged,
right?
Because her serving all those boards, she must be very good.
Right, at 44 years.
Yes,
right.
She must be very good. Yeah.
All right. Something else. Someone was recognized over Mashujaa Day, but we begin with the commotion. Did you see the commotion that happened?
Yeah. It is very sad right away, because all this commotion was not supposed to happen, because we understand there must be a protocol team, Richard. And it clearly tells you that inside the government something is boiling, and something is not something. They are trying to play the cards on the table, but something is not happening. Yes.
Right. From class 3 dropout to leading business magnate. This is a man who was honored posthumously by Ruto on Mashujaa Day.
Yeah, President Ruto says we're celebrating a teach on incredible entrepreneur who exemplifies the bottom-up story. Now, it makes me worried this morning, Richard, because...
Makes you worried? I thought this is an encouraging story.
Because what are we going to tell our people back in the village? Should we drop out?
That's what they're saying here, that, sometimes it's not all about the certifications.
Yeah, that is a very, very dangerous statement.
Is it?
Whereby art and talent has not reached a level whereby we can say it satisfies the Kenyan economy. We simply rely on the certificate, right from primary level to the highest level of education. We have not reached it there as a country, Richard. So the president, him uttering words of glorification, especially from a man from his back door, it's really something that Kenyans should really look at, because so many kids today are struggling even to go to school because of lack of fees. So, and
given the new university funding model, it makes this a very interesting twist to if there is a narrative in that direction.
Yes.
We are not able to fund many students to go to school, but there's hope.
There's hope. You can go into business. You can, because I agree, this is a business mogul. He's into hospitality. He's into different businesses that he ventured in as a Mzee. But the narrative that I hope that Mzee, the President William Ruto will say, he should be bringing hope to the people, that regardless of how much you've suffered to go to school, there's still hope based on Mzee Rotich story. Mzee Rotich.
When the Deputy President says there are no jobs for youth, and we are aware of the statistics in terms of the employment rates, the job market, and what it looks like.
Yes.
And we have seen the new university funding model, which has locked out a lot of students from selecting a placement within university institutions. Shouldn't this be something we should celebrate and maybe encourage more people who are not able to make the cut to university, maybe pursue business?
One thing I want to give comrades hope, because yesterday a court case was filed at the High Court stopping the new funding model.
Right, and it's somewhere at the back of the Daily Nation.
Yes.
Right.
So because we clearly see that this cost is hurting the parents of comrades, because they're telling comrades that they cannot go to school. And Richard, we came here, we discussed that issue. It's a very sensitive and painful issue, because if the cost of education is going up, I recently saw Management University has they are soon to graduate, maybe this Friday. Graduation fee has gone from 3,000. Currently, it's at 7,000.
That's page 11.
That's page 11 of Daily Nation. So if the fees are growing by day, right from when you start to when you graduate, tell me, Richard, how many people are going to graduate in this instance?
Wanaongeza graduation fee ya nini exactly?
You understand?
Right.
So the graduation fee in the recent years was around 3,000. I'm being told for me to graduate, let me pay for 4,000 extra shillings.
Wanasema mafuta imepanda, kutransport gown ni pesa mingi sana. Saizi you have to add on a few coins
And
on top
some of those gowns, Richard, we know the state. I not want to disclose them here.
Let's not go into the details of graduation.
Yes.
But there is hope, as you said, there for comrades. There is, education is a basic human right at this point, right?
As we speak, education is really important for growth. We recently saw, just to jump into the issue of our governor, Sakaja, he was taken to and fro because of his degree, the credibility of his degree, allegedly that he did not complete his degree at University of Nairobi. So naona hata maneno imemfuata pale UDA na mambo na forgery.
Right. We'll move from fake degrees to fake signatures in a bit. But the Kenya Human Rights Commission, KHRC, is saying that the rush into the new funding model will be denying or will breach students' right to education. And they've filed a case here, petitioners who are asking that, or who are saying that the funding model as is being implemented is exclusive and is discriminating against students whose backgrounds are not covered. So it is estimated that about 21,814 students will fall under the vulnerable category, 23,000 extremely needy, and 26,000 needy, 84,000 less needy. So unless you're extremely needy, this new funding model is not going to cover all your tuition, which leaves a lot of these students hanging in the balance. So hopefully the courts get to take a look at this case, and comrades can get reprieve, even as they are struggling with various issues in matters of academics. Right. From fake degrees to fake signatures, and let's talk about UDA and Sakaja.
Sakaja is really on the... his issues are becoming more serious by the day.
Right.
Because allegedly, the UDA Secretary General received letters from MCAs of forgery of signatures. And he's being told that... and then the SG did a letter back to the National County Assembly of Nairobi, saying that there's a removal of minority leader and minority whip.
Right.
So a few days later, the SG recalls the letter and says that the letter that he did is null and void, but the issues will be discussed on this Thursday at their headquarters. Now it begs to question what's really happening to Sakaja's government, because if the ticket and these guys from the minority side allegedly being funded by the deputy president to oust the governor, it means there's a serious issues on the UDA party. The question is, I want to ask this morning, is Sakaja planning to go for deputy party leader, a second deputy party leader at UDA? Is that as a result of his wars with the MCS?
Right.
Are they planning to impeach him? So those are the questions that politically one would tend to think about Sakaja's issues with his allies.
When it comes to the leadership of the Nairobi county, even from President Uhuru Kenyatta's time, we've seen a tussle between the county government and the national government. And, previously, as was with Sonko, as was with Kidero, and then later on, of course, we had the Nairobi Metropolitan, which last week we discussed here, is also under fire for misappropriation of funds during the very short tenure that it was,
it is on record.
Transition.
It is on record that Kidero was never impeached. It is on record that Sonko was impeached. And it clearly tells you that the ruling party, UDA, and back then, Sonko had an issue with the deputy governor that culminated to all his troubles. How he could have received advice from the party, his issues could have been sorted in a manner that is very courteous. The same thing that is happening today here, because precedent was set up that any governor can be impeached by members of county assembly. We've clearly seen that these wars have started in Meru with Kawera Mwangaza. It went to Kiambu. Now it has rain is coming to Nairobi.
Right.
Specifically, these counties are known to be UDA affiliated. So one wants to think, what is really happening in the UDA party.
Right. One MCA, Mark Ronaldo Mugambi, is quoted here to saying that senior government officials and senior members of the party have attempted to convince him to turn against the governor. And he will not disclose their names for now, but if they do not stop, he will out them. Promises of people being outed. Do we expect anything important from Mr. Mugambi?
Well,
Ronaldo.
we have to wait until Thursday, Richard, so that we can have that conversation.
What's happening on Thursday?
They're having a meeting at the UDA party, the MCAs of the county assemblies. However, what I can suspect, Sakaja might be fronted as a deputy party leader because elections are coming, come December, for this party.
Grassroots elections?
Yes.
Okay.
And he might be fronted as a second deputy party leader of UDA party. Yes, those are the allegedly grassroots conversation
that are going to happen there.
Yes.
UDA kicks Sakaja allies out of key posts in assembly. MCAs were reportedly unhappy with their leaders, and the ruling party has accused the officials of failing to unite members in the Nairobi County. This is a story on page 5 of the Daily Nation, the wars that are happening over in the county. Let's get back to page 3, which is an interesting story of the Rai family.
Yes.
The business empire, which has been in fierce court battles. One over the Mumias company, and others which they were kicked out of by President William Ruto, gave birth to the famous statement
Mambo ni
Matatu,
yes,
and which is now being trademarked by the president. Now here we are seeing that the family of Rai is also now in a dispute over the ownership of the Rai Investment Limited after their two sons moved to court over alleged manipulation of shares in the company. Who's manipulating these shares? Is it still political?
Richard, I told you the other day, we are living in a very dangerous times whereby everything is politicized, instigated. On record, Rai is not new to the public. The current Rai, who is the chairman of the board,
Mr. Jan Swat.
Yes. So he's not new to the public face. He's been controlling the sugar industry sector for a long time. And we know that Indians or Hindus do their business legitimately or legitimized in other terms. But since he had an issue with Mumias because he had purchased highest number of shareholding in that company, it was not sitting well with President Ruto political ambition coming 2027. Because I said it earlier that Western region is commonly known for the sugar farming. And how do I, the people from the Western...
Talk to the sugar farmers.
Talk to the sugar farmers. We saw that there's a waiver that was done completely. There's no date for Mumias.
And this has been happening for a while. Yes.
Yes. So slowly by slowly...
so this is still political?
Yes, he's coming for the chairman of the board, and I assure you, he's not going to have the end of the president. Right,
the business empire of the Rai family. You can read about it here and get to share. Let us know if you share the same sentiments with Nick Mwadime here.
Yes,
and it's on page 3 of the Daily Nation.
On other serious issues, right? Richard, it's Happy Taxpayers Day.
Is it happy? Happy Taxpayers Day.
So I want to ask you,
happy is a stretch.
Are you happy?
Happy is a stretch. If we took a survey of Kenyans who are watching this show,
I know.
Did you know it is Happy Taxpayers Day?
I didn't know. And the sarcasm is, there's a photo here that people are really happy and doing a thumbs up like this.
News Focus page 21. Let me take a look at it real quick. So, a thumbs up. This can't be taxpayers.
Probably you're happy, Richard, and I don't know because where I'm seated, I have house levy that is waiting for me. NHIF is going to rise from 500 shilling to those who are paying 500 shillings a month to 1,000 shillings a month. So a rough estimate that compulsory bills that I have to pay, tax I have to pay, is around 2,400 in a month.
Mwesau NSSF,
Richard,
which moved to 1080.
I don't understand how people are happy.
Happy Taxpayers Day. The Kenya Revenue Authority is celebrating.
How people are happy.
They are celebrating the Taxpayers Day in Nakuru County.
Yes, I don't understand completely. Probably you let me know.
The happiness. If you're a happy taxpayer, please let us know. But you're getting amnesty, so maybe that's something happy we can share. That KRA to celebrate this day.
You need to ask yourself, Richard, how many people know amnesty?
Right? How many people even know today is Taxpayers' Day?
How many people? So
But you're getting amnesty, which will be ending in 31st of December.
Yeah.
So if you have any penalties and interest accrued for the period which ended last year,
Yes.
December, you can get the waiver from KRA.
Yes.
But they have sent agents, actually. I don't know if you were here when we were talking about door-to-door agents.
Door-to-door agents.
Right, by KRA, just for compliance. It's nothing to worry about. Just to ensure that you know the process. Yani wanakusaidia.
You know, something funny is compliance is a soft word. But the real issue is they ask you, how old are you? Do you have a career pin?
And that's all they want to know.
Yes. So matters on the ground are really tense and serious. And very technical, Richard.
Right.
Final story. Kuwait government to donate over 1 billion for Nyamira schools facelift. And I was just reading this story. I was just remembering my good friend Richard. I've never heard him with a Kisii accent.
You might hear it from time to time.
So, naona pale Nyamira mmepatiwa, you guys have been given 1 billion. So I don't know what you guys are going to do with 1 billion to facelift schools. You have amazing English. So probably the 1 billion is going to come in handy. We're going to help people from your community to speak excellently as you are speaking.
This is personal now. This is very personal. However, this is an interesting story. I have to clarify though. I am a citizen of Kisii County.
Okay,
so
Richard.
My governor Arati, sitaki angalia isho aseme nimemtoka kwa sababu najua we might have a few things to do in the future. But I'm a man of Simba Arati. However, Nyamira County is receiving over 1 billion.
Yeah, Richard. And
let's talk about the figures, Nick.
Yes.
Over 1 billion Kenyan shillings.
It makes me worried. Are we going to have another Uasin Gishu scandal?
Oh, wow.
Because these are matters of education, very serious issues.
Right. 68 schools which are going to be given this amount of money from Kuwait to balance out and to do a facelift on various facilities, laboratory blocks, administration blocks, latrines, dormitory facilities, and all of these others which are good for education and for these students. It's funny and ironical that at this point, when we hear these amounts of figures, you hear 1 billion Kenyan shillings has been given to Nyamira County. The first reaction from a Kenyan is not excitement. But at least as far as we are concerned on this set.
It's not
excitement that, oh wow, we have 1 billion. Your first statement was it's
a matter of concern.
It's a matter of concern to you. Why can't we celebrate these figures?
Let us look 5 years from now, Richard, and me and you are going to have this conversation. Where will Nyamira schools be in terms of education? Are we going to have more universities? Are we going to have better schools? Are we going to have better libraries for people of Nyamira? Or is it going to be another shambolic game whereby we cannot explain where the money go?
It's unaccounted for.
Where it went, what it has been done for, and what they are planning to do it.
Right.
Anyway,
we'll be looking at what Kenya got from China in a bit, because President William Ruto was invited there for the Road and Bridge Network Forum. He got a few things here and there. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said we will be looking forward to getting 150 billion Kenyan shillings from China. President William Ruto akirudi akasema sisi si madeni. There are also this, various contradicting statements from government officials which you have to put into perspective here.
Speaking of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, he gave a press notice that he'll be traveling to, I think it's Poland. So my good friend Desmond tweeted yesterday and said, I hope he has been briefed that there are no polar bears in
there are no polar bears in Kenya. Asiende kuuza pale false hope za tigers. What are polar bears in Kikuyu? Because you're saying that Kikuyu tigers and lions are the same thing.
That's a very tricky man, because he got himself in a very tricky situation, telling the people that there are tigers in Kenya. So he is inviting tourists to see lions rather than tigers.
Right. But if he has to say we have bears, I was just looking up in a few minutes ago here. We do actually have a bear in Kenya, the only one in Africa.
Didn't know that.
The only bear in Africa, which is at now should be 20 years old by now, because the information is that it was 1 year old in 2003. So we have the only bear in Africa, and you can get to visit the Oljogi Conservancy and get to see this.
On a later note, Richard, I really hope These are not stories from River Road.
These are legitimate stories. You can ask Turu Travels,
Yes.
who is one of those businesses
Yes.
that are taking Kenyans
You know,
to
you know,
Kenya.
Kenyans are very creative.
Tembea Kenya.
I was reading a story the other day. A man dressed up like a gorilla, and the other one dressed up like a lion. So they went abroad. So the gorilla was really doing his thing, Yeah, the gorilla guy. So tourists are thinking this is a gorilla. So the man in the man in the lion suit now decided to go after the gorilla. So the gorilla was running in circle. So the man now in the gorilla suit was really terrified. So when the lion pounced on the gorilla, and the guy was really the guy in the gorilla suit shouting, "Help! Help! Help!" So the guy in the lion suit told the guy, "Kinuthia, ni mimi bana, wacha utaribu biashara."
Comical break there. As you get to see, you can beat me here. We've talked about education a lot. I hope kuna a wildlife question there.
Yes.
But since education is a right for everyone, Nick, did you beat me last time?
Yes, I've always been beating you, Richard. And at least the other time you guys gave me a worthy competitor. Yes.
Oh, so you're saying I'm an unworthy competitor?
Please, I said you guys gave me.
No, I always take a look at what you don't say, because that's exactly what you are saying is what you don't say. Do you have with you?
No, I don't have a pen.
Let me hand you this.
Thank you.
As we begin.
Yes.
Let's queue up the questions, and then we'll get to see what our answers are. So if you're at home, we have a brain teaser for you, and then we'll get back to a few of the stories ambazo ziko bado left on the headlines. So we're going to have 10 questions. As always, answer as fast as you can. Every question is 5 seconds. There's going to be a timer on your screens, and then we'll mark against each other with Nick here, public, live on air, and Dafka uko home. You can also let us know what your score is. But then here we begin. The question number 1. The coat of arms of Kenya features 2 spears. What do they symbolize? All right. Question number 2. Who painted the Mona Lisa? Who painted the Mona Lisa? It's not Ruga. All right. Question number 3. Here we go. Who won? Question number 3 is who won Business Influencer of the Year on Pulse Kenya Influencer Awards of 2023?
Today's question, Richard.
This is going to be this we have to talk about when the time comes.
I don't know what the producer is planning with us.
Tough.
Paka mahali nimefika.
Okay, let's just finish the question, then I'll tell you something here. Who formulated the theory of relativity?
I don't remember.
Lakini pia usini distraction ndio ibe exam. Unajua? Tunawajua ni cunning students. Question number 5. Who was the first cabinet secretary for Treasury, Finance and Economic Planning? The first CS for Treasury. Leo nisipokupiga. Hakuna siku.
Today I see the goals are on your side.
The second line in the first stanza of the East African anthem, Omenipata stance.
Me and you both.
The second line in the first stanza of the East African anthem. All right, question number 7. It was, what is the elaboration of EPRA? EPRA in full. Next question here. Which animal is featured in the new 1 shilling coin? Okay, real quick. Just Okay, I don't operate with those currencies. So mimi ni mtu wa thao na mbele. Thao na Bitcoin. What is GPA in full? GPA in full. GPA yangu ilikuwa mbaya, so I can't even tell you. Oh man. Last question here. What is the capital city of Zambia? What is the capital city of Zambia? Hey, Yako. Hey. GPA walai. What is GPA in full? Can I say 80? Or is that my GPA just okay? Let's swap. Oh man, it has to be this. This has to be the answer. Anyway, let's go. The answers. The coat of arms of Kenya features 2 spears. What do they symbolize? What is the answer? My director and producer. Here, Nick ameandika shield is defense. Ameandika nini hapo?
Shield protection.
Shield protection. What do they represent? What do they symbolize? Answers. My director, producer. Right. Shield and defending. So we got it all. Question number 2. Who painted the Mona Lisa? Ulikuwa umeandika Picasso, ukavuta. Ukaandika Leonardo. Umeandika Leonard lakini. Cha tukapatie tu. Leonardo da Vinci. That's his face. All right. Question number 3. Who won Business Influencer of the Year on the Pulse Kenya Influencer Awards of 2023? Who won the Business Influencer of the Year? Maureen Bandari. That's information. I'm receiving information from my director. So if you're at home, please follow along. Maureen Bandari won Business Influencer of the Year. What to a Pulse? Okay, I'll talk about that later. Question number 4. Who formulated the theory of relativity?
Supposed to be okay.
Albert Einstein.
You got it.
Umeandika Henry Rotich.
That was supposed to be question 5.
Oh, that's for the different. Oh, okay. That's for the next question. Albert Einstein, not Henry Rotich. Henry Rotich, nothing related. At a special theory. Okay. Who was the first cabinet secretary for Treasury? And then that's when we have Henry Rotich. Next question. That's not the answer. Oh wow. Who was the first CS for Treasury? Apparently, it's not Henry Rotich. The first CS for Treasury during President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Supposed to be Henry.
What is the answer? First cabinet secretary is Henry Rotich.
Yes.
That was the first time cabinet secretary was the title for that ministry, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Henry Rotich. But apparently the first question was the first minister.
No, they said
for finance. But they said we are very good students.
Yes.
Yeah. So tumepata, si ndio?
Yes.
Who was the first minister though? Let's know. The first minister was James Gishuru for finance.
Yeah.
Back then.
James Gishuru.
So kama uko home umepata half a mark if you wrote Gishuru.
Yes.
That you knew.
Yeah, that I knew.
All right. You'd say that of course after the exam.
He was the chairman of
okay.
The first chairman of COW.
All right.
Yes.
Since already you knew it. Let us know what is the first what is the second line in the first stanza?
No,
of the East African anthem.
That I do not know.
What is the first line of this?
I didn't even know the national.
It is in Swahili, right?
Yes.
So Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki. That's the second line. Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki. Literally the East African. East Africa. All right. What is the elaboration of EPRA, the Energy, Petroleum, and Regulatory Authority? I got it and you got half. I'll just give you half. You know why? Yeah. We won't say it on air. Energy, na umekuwa sad. What's up? Scores zinaenda kwa mbaya.
No. Maneno iko mzuri.
Which animal is featured in the new 1 shilling? I didn't
hear that question. It went too fast. Yeah.
All right. Let us know before we give the answer.
There's an elephant and yes,
for the 1 shilling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the answer to the 1 shilling? Giraffe. Yeah.
Interesting.
Please put a very long tick, just as long as a giraffe. Number 9. What is GPA in full? Grade point average. I'll give you half because you're almost there. but I wasn't. So a grade point
Because,
average.
in where I do my masters, it's grade progressive aggregate.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know if we should give you a full mark because you've just given us a flex there.
You saw it.
Interesting flex, but okay. You're doing your masters?
Yes, I'm doing my masters in data science and analytics.
All right.
Yeah.
It's what are they calling it? Grade
Progressive aggregate.
Okay, I'll give it to you, man. You're the only masters guy here, so utaniekelea useme watu undergrad. Final question: what is the capital city of Zambia? That is Lusaka.
Yeah,
Lusaka, Zambia. Nimeupata ngapi leo? Kabla nikwambie wewe yako.
3, 4,
And if you're at home also,
5,
let us
6,
know
7.
what you got. What did I have there?
7.
Sema watu wasikie nini?
7.
7 out of 10 here.
Yes.
We have, do I say yours? Amani
Yeah. Yes.
So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. Not bad.
7. I have 2 halves.
No.
6 and a half.
No. 5 and a half actually. So I give you 6. It's 5 and a half. Actually, your story in 5 and a half.
I see you, Richard.
I beat you this time, man. I'm so happy. You have no idea. I've been losing for the past 3 games consecutively,
it's a good one, yes.
and now we have a change.
Probably for you to allow me in the next show, you had to win.
So you just you played it.
Yeah, you have to play. 48 powers of law. You cannot go ahead of your master.
I'll take it. If you're at home, let us know what your score is. But thank you for playing that game with us.
Yeah.
Let's finally, maybe as we are still in the laughing mode and having a good time here,
Okay.
Let's look at the caricature by Dula. Kuna katuni ya Dula hapa imenifurahisha sana. But the Daily Nation page 17.
I remember. Daily Nation page 17.
El Nino ama El Nino. El Minimo. That's what I was calling it.
I saw... is it a meme whereby the president is saying, we really thank God. We reported there will be an El Nino. Now there's drought.
But then, thank God, man. Thank God the scientists are wrong. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, so I was really, it was funny, but I was really sad.
Yeah.
Why are we really thanking God? And Kenyans are expecting rain in real sense. And
my question there was, before you even move to the next point, is why then do we have scientists?
Yes.
Why do we have the Met department? We could just rely on our own intuition and our relationship with God and our connection with the heavens.
The president really likes to flex because he has a PhD and he's a president, he's a minister of finance, he's a minister of education. He's
the minister of the word of God.
So right now he's also the minister of climate.
Right. So they're showing a picture of him, or no, it's not a picture of him.
Yeah,
it's a drawing.
Editorial cartoon.
Yes, editorial cartoon here.
Yes.
Of him and likeness of him. Let me say the likeness of him. I have to tread carefully here. The likeness of President William Ruto and the likeness of DP Rigathi Gachagua in a boat El Nino preparedness is the name of the boat. Wameshikilia umbrella. Wamesema few. They're on an island, it seems.
On top of a rock.
And they're tied to an ark.
Yes, with a yellow umbrella.
So it's like Noah told us to prepare for the floods, and then it doesn't happen. I said, thank God. We are not going to use that ark anymore.
And apparently we know who the Noah is.
All right. Should we say who it is?
Yes.
For me, the translation or the what I take from the representation in the editorial picture here as the ark. The ark represents preparedness across the county, right?
Yes.
We have boats in Nairobi County. We have money that was dispersed to the counties. We have different task forces, different committees to El Nino committees here and there. So what happens to the ark if Noah tells us we are not going to board the ark? Where does the ark go? Hizo mbao za ark zinaenda wapi? Pesa
where is the money going? That's a really interesting question, Richard.
Yeah.
That Kenyans are asking.
Right.
We need to tell Kenyans how they're going to survive in terms of such crises.
Right.
How the food prices are going to go down. Because if there's going to be El Nino, definitely there's going to be a crisis of food.
Right.
So how are Kenyans going to survive in terms of such crises?
All right.
Yes.
One other story. But we have to state here that scientists are yet to agree with the president. The Kenya Met hasn't given out their statement.
Yes.
However, a few experts are saying if you see the sun outside in Nairobi, it doesn't mean there's no El Nino. El Nino will be there in different parts, just maybe not like 1997.
Yes.
So please do prepare yourself. Yeah, don't throw caution to the wind.
Yes.
Or throw caution to. Will there be wind in El Nino? To the storm, I guess. More pain at the pump looms if no levy gets nod. One other person is getting FOMO. Yeah? FOMO is the fear of missing out. Yeah. So KRA wanataka tax. The president once he's here. Another one once he's there. And the Kenya Roads Board feels like they're being left out in the new wave of taxes. Yeah, they're saying, since tumekuwa 18 shillings for so long, please take us to 23 bob. Let's get a cut also in this tax frenzy that's hitting the nation.
All these agencies represent the government. So one wants to think, why should we have different taxes at different government agencies?
Right.
Yes. Kenyans are struggling to get that coin. And I think what the Daily Nation reads today, more pain at the pump looms. So it means there's going to be more additional cost of fuel.
Right.
Yes.
And we know Israel and Hamas is also happening.
Yes.
Crude oil prices have gone up 10%.
Yes.
We are expecting that importation will be affected. So, more pain is an appropriate statement.
As we speak, Richard, also on a sad note, we have lost over 23 journalists at the war. So it's a very emotional and sensitive issue. Also to give tribute to all those journalists that may have lost their life and the families of those journalists to cover and try to cover those stories of Israel and Pakistan.
Right. For all those journalists, of course, me being a part of the media, a very huge word of condolence to them, their family members, and for all those who are still continuing to cover these important stories which are happening within our society. It's a very sad story. Regards of the war, regards of what is happening, regards of political affiliations and all of that, they are very serious and they are very real lives which are being affected.
I saw one of the journalists carrying 2 kids on his hand.
Right.
I think they were twins. One was really bleeding, and the other one had broken the leg. So it's a sad situation. It's a sad image to think of. And I beseech those countries, please, at the end of the day, let us try and remember that human life really matters.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully they get to hear us because they know that. I bet they do know that, right? Last thing before I hope we don't finish on a very sad note there. The Business Daily, I want you to give us 2 statements and then we'll finish with a quote.
Yes.
But the story that is there, it's what Kenya needs to do in farming up the economy. Nick, what do you think Kenya needs to do in farming up the economy? What can we do to bring some positive light into the current economic crisis we are facing?
Richard, I will tell you something about Kenyans. We came out from COVID. Business are struggling, but Kenyans are waking up every single morning to make sure there's food on the table, making sure that their children go to school, they have a meal, and they can at least afford to go and have a shelter. So I have to give it to Kenyans, me and you, Richard, that we wake up each and every day having hope that tomorrow is going to be better. Yes.
Yeah, moment of silence for that. Read us the quote at the back of the Business
Before I read
Daily.
the quote, Richard, allow me to actually invite you. At Mkusa, we have Mkusa Steve Chege Day happening at Maina Village, Nyaururu, from 10th, 11th, and 12th. I want to invite KUTV as well, and all comrades to participate in this event. Steve Chege was our founding chairman who passed last year. So we want to commemorate his achievement here at Mkusa.
All right.
And then finally,
condolences to you, by the way, and the whole family.
Yeah, he was vying like Laikipia senator. Last year he became number 2. Right. So he had a huge future.
Right.
So this November, we're going to really champion for our leader.
All right.
And then finally, also to give a huge shout out to my sister. She's graduating this Friday, and say congratulations.
Congratulations.
So quote last word. The urge to save humanity is almost always only a false face of the urge to rule it.
Oh wow,
that's deep.
That's deep.
That's deep.
That's really deep. We have to get it again. It's too deep.
The urge to save humanity is almost always only a false face for the urge to rule it.
Who said that?
H.L. Mencken,
Who was he?
American journalist, essayist, satirist, cultural critic, and scholar.
That's a journalist there.
That's a journalist, Richard.
All
That's
right.
a journalist.
The urge to save the world.
The urge to save humanity,
The
not
urge to
just
save humanity.
not the world, humanity, is almost always only a false face for the urge to rule it. Richard, if you say more than that, we are going to spoil it.
I'm not going to say anything. Thank you very much, Nick,
Thank
for
you,
creating
sir.
time.
Yes, good
All
to
right.
see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yes,
Hope
yeah.
we can do this more and more.
More and more?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Definitely.
Yes.
Going for a short break, coming back to see what your feedback is looking like. More comments are coming in here, and then I will be telling you of what direction the week is heading to. Don't go too far.